of Warwick. We also have Carrie Gandhi, who has just joined us. She is also one of our speakers today. If I can request our speakers one by one to kindly introduce themselves, briefly talk about what are they currently pursuing in the United Kingdom and what is it that they are looking to share in this particular session, so that all our attendees, which includes a mix of parents and students, they'll be benefited from that. So if I can start, can I please start by requesting Kashvi to kindly introduce herself, followed by Sakshi, and then followed by Anuj to introduce themselves, the course that they are pursuing or they were pursuing, and what is it that they are looking forward to share with our attendees in this session. So Kashvi, could you please start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm Kashri Gandhi, and I am currently pursuing BSc Finance at LSE. I joined last year, so I just completed my first year, and it's basically a 3-year course. Eventually, after once I graduate, I want to find a job in the UK and probably London itself and develop a career in finance. I'd like to share my experience so far in UK throughout the application process at uni and help out as much as I can.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for joining. I think a lot of people are curious to know about prospects of finding a job in London, specifically, considering it's the hub of finance. How do you go about it? I think during the course of the session, we'll know more from you on that. So thank you. Can I now have Sakshi introduce herself, the course that she's pursuing, and what is it that she'll be sharing during this session with our attendees?
So, hi, I'm Sakshi. I am studying Gender and International Development at University of Warwick. I want to build a career in the environmental sector. So I want to work with the issue of climate crisis and sort of look at the social dynamics around it. Throughout this session, I would like to talk about my experience in the UK, the application process, specifically financing, so scholarships and how I've gone about that, and what my procedure was and everything, and my experience at Warwick itself. So the diversity here, the opportunities here, and sort of how to build a life around in a foreign world. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining. And yes, Warwick is one of the preferred choices for a lot of Indians, considering the ranking that it has, the diverse community it has, and at the same time, a good, solid Indian community that it has on campus. Thank you for that. Now, can I request Anuj to kindly introduce himself, the course that he pursued, and what is it that he's looking forward to share in this session?
Hi, I am Manoj Biani, and I graduated from UCL University College London in 2019. I have done masters in management with a finance pathway. Probably I'm here to just tell everyone, I'm going to sensitize everyone with what's the process like once you're there in UK. How are you going to make the most of your time in the UK? What's the process over there? How Brexit is going to impact the economy over there, and for that per se, the student education students over there. So there are quite a few things that we can talk about that's actually going to really help the ones who aspire to study in the UK.
Perfect. Thank you, Anuj. Thank you to the three of you for joining. We will soon begin our session. Before that, I just want to update all the attendees that your questions will be taken up in the Q&A tab. So please use that to address specific questions. If you have a question to a specific speaker with regards to their profile, mention their name and then put in the question so that I can address it to the specific speaker. And please feel free to share your comments, suggestions, etc. in the chat box, not in the Q&A tab. I will soon share my screen so that we can get started with the discussion, the insights that we're going to have with our speakers today. Give me a moment. All right. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. I'm audible enough. The visuals are all clear. So welcome to EDUSeries 7. This is presented to you by EduGoals. EduGoals specializes in providing holistic, personalized, goal-based education and career advisory. These series of webinars is brought to you by EduGoals with the aim that we wish to bring the brightest minds who have studied in the best of the colleges in India and around the world so that they can come here, they can share a lot of their experiences and the application process that they went through during their time when they were applying. So today's theme, as we already know, is about studying in the top universities of United Kingdom. We'll talk about the application process, the experiences that our speakers have had and are going to have in the respective universities, and the prospects after that. If one wants to work in the UK or in London specifically, how does that go about? So we have three speakers today. They have just introduced themselves. We have Kashvi Gandhi, who is pursuing BSc Finance in London School of Economics. We have Anuj Biyani, who recently completed his Masters in Management from University College London. We also have Sakshi Chindalia, who is currently pursuing a master's course in Gender and International Development at University of Warwick. So before I move ahead, these are some of the general questions that come in each of our minds when we think about studying in the UK. What is the application process like? A lot of you must have heard about something called UCAS. You must have heard about the new visa changes, the new visa rules, which has been brought in under the title Post-Study Work Visa, PSW. How will Brexit impact it? How will the current situation impact one's studying plans in the United Kingdoms? So this is just a snapshot of all the questions that we are going to address today with the help of our speakers and myself moderating this session. So I will begin this by introducing to you why still UK is a very much preferred destination for studying abroad, especially by Indians. The first reason is the most obvious one. It has a long list of prestigious universities, right from University of Oxford, University of Cambridge, London Business School, LBS, LSE, University College of London, and many more. We have also had a very strong and a rich legacy of notable alumni who are in leading positions in different fields around the world, be it Mahatma Gandhi, who was an alumna of UCL, or be it Kumar Mangalam Birla, who studied from LBS. So that has been a very dominant factor that plays heavily on the minds of Indians who still look at UK as one of the most preferred destinations. Also, one more thing that sets UK apart from other study abroad options is the fact that typically their undergraduate courses have a 3-year degree, which is similar to what is followed in the undergraduate colleges in India and which is highly preferred versus a 4-year degree, which other countries have. So with a brief snapshot that I just shared about UK, I will straight away dive into the questions that I have for my speakers today. I'll be starting with Kashvi. I'm curious to know, I'm sure most attendees want to know in detail regarding the application process that one has to follow for undergraduate admissions, specifically about the UCAS. What is the UCAS and what was your experience like applying for top colleges in the United Kingdom and of course landing in London School of Economics? Yeah.
So UCAS is basically like a platform that integrates your college application process and makes the whole experience much more smoother and convenient for us students. It's basically one platform where you can send in applications to multiple universities as compared to having to go to different websites to apply to each university, say in countries like US. So you have to enter your academic details, your recommendation letters, you have to submit your SOP through the same platform. And it's very convenient. You just have to tick in the colleges that you wish to apply to and then just submit and you're done.
Right. And what was your journey like when did you started your application process, and what were the few of the other universities maybe that were your dream universities or you applied to? So can you just walk us through that a little bit?
I actually applied to universities in US, Canada, and UK. So,
Sure.
and I really started my application process pretty late because I wasn't sure I wanted to study abroad. So started something about late November, early December kind of thing. And for UK, I applied to LSE, Warwick, King's, University of Edinburgh, and Manchester University.
Okay.
It was pretty simple because before applying to UK, I had applied to US, where I had to write tons of essays for like all the universities. So it was a big relief when I had to just write one simple SOP for all of for all the universities. And because I had written so many essays, I think my thought process into how to write an SOP and what's the structure was pretty much evolved by then, and it was easier for me to write it and explain myself, project myself in a better way.
Absolutely.
So basically I had to submit a statement of purpose. For undergraduate levels in most of the universities in UK, they demand IELTS or TOEFL to support your English requirement, but then if you don't match it, it's fine. You can even do that after you receive an offer for admission. A few universities like Oxbridge do have some other tests as well apart from this. So it depends on which universities you decide to apply to.
Absolutely. So as you clearly mentioned that UCAS, or Universities and College Admission Services, that's what it stands for, is like a one-stop support service, centralized support service, wherein you can apply to the various universities that are in UK, right from Oxbridge to other universities. And the typical process has your one statement of purpose, unlike the USA applications, wherein there are numerous essays that one has to fill and write. And yes, along with that, you need to have the score for a standardized test, which could be either TOEFL or IELTS. Sometimes this requirement is not really needed based on what education board that you come from. So thank you for sharing that, Kashvi. We'll get back to you to know more about your experience at LSE and what are you looking to do after that. So with that, I'll move to my next question. So after covering what undergrad studies are in UK about, I want to know a little more about what is it like to study a master's course in UK. So I have Anuj, whom I would request to tell me more and tell our attendees a little more about what was his application process for his master's course, and specifically what was the experience like studying at University College London.
So I personally think that I had one of the best time of my life by studying at UCL. The process of a grad course, a post-graduation course in UK for that per se is much more easier and very simpler when you compare it with an undergraduate course. The pattern goes like this: you first need to do your groundwork in terms of
I think your
undergrad scorings, and you need to can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, so first of all you need to get your transcripts done from your undergrad university or school, and after that you need
Anuj, I think your voice is
basically go to you need to the UK. You have targeted 5 universities. So in those, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
It is better. It gets stopped in between.
Prachi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you need to target 5 colleges in the UK. That's how that was my way of getting through the university. I targeted 5 colleges, 5 schools in the UK. 2 were like high target, and 2 was achievable, and 1 was low target. So that was my approach. And then what you do is you fill up the form, the application
Right.
form for the grad course at various universities. Like, why do you want to choose this particular course? What are your skill sets and things like that? And an SOP, statement of purpose. You fill all those things, and then from college to college, there's a requirement. For example, UCL, LBS, all these schools, they do need GMAT. So yes, I gave this competitive exam of GMAT as well. And yeah, that's the whole process. So first you get the transcripts done, then you fill up the form with SOP and few other questions that university asks you for, and you get the comparative scores over there, and precisely how you get a note there.
Right.
So that was the process.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned that giving a standardized test is one of the requirements. In your case, like you did give GMAT because considering you had to apply for a B school course, which is Masters in Management, and you chose to apply to 5 universities, and you decided to hedge yourself by choosing some safe universities, some dream universities, and a couple of reach universities, so that you have the whole spectrum covered when you do apply to UK. Right.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a very, yeah, sure.
And also, not all the universities in the UK for postgraduate course need GMAT or some other competitive exam like GRE.
Right.
The few schools that are targeted, like University College London and London Business School, they needed GMAT score. It always gives you a better neck over others. But there are other great universities like CAS Business School and King's College and a few Warwick Business School. All these schools, they do not need GMAT scores over there. They look at your profile holistically, your co-curriculars, your previous background and things like that. And they probably assess you on that and evaluate you on that.
Absolutely. Very important that you mentioned that not all courses and not all schools need a standardized test score. And that brings me to one of our services that we at EduGoals offer, which is called EduGuide. So we basically support the students to select universities right from selecting which ones to apply to, and also we guide them throughout the entire application process, which works in 2 ways. First is the advisory or counseling, wherein we understand the student's interests, what course and what school might be appropriate for the student, and which is followed by the action plan, which is exactly what Kashvi and Anuj just mentioned, right from the application strategy with regards to your statement of purpose, the LORs that you need to procure, what kind of standardized test prep that you need to focus on, be it GMAT, GRE, or the standard English tests, followed by a mock interview preparation, post-result support, and then also the visa guidance, as it's a very crucial part. And with regards to other ancillary services, we also make sure that under our action plan, we also guide you on things like educational loan assistance, Forex guidance, pre-university guidance, which is basically a lot of skill building like academic writing, understanding, networking, etc., which is really crucial once you enter a university environment, especially abroad. Also supporting you in a smooth cultural transition. And then once all of these steps are complete, you are actually ready and you feel more confident when you land your destination, be it UK or any other country, and you can actually focus on your academics there. So with this, I would also like to share this little list that I procured from the QS World University Rankings. We are really proud to have students from all the top 3 universities that you can see on this list. So UCL has a world ranking of 10. We have LSE that stands at 49. We have University of Warwick that stands at 62. Talking about University of Warwick, I will now ask this particular question to Sakshi. So she has been awarded a scholarship to study her master's program in the University of Warwick. So I would like to know more about what was that process like, and otherwise, apart from the scholarship, what are like the typical finances if you were to give a rough estimate to the attendees with regards to studying in UK? Of course, it depends on the school and the area that you're living in, but like a general estimation from your side.
Right. As you mentioned, living in London costs way more than living in, say, the countryside.
Right.
But some of these some of these old towns like Oxbridge, they would be on the expensive side as well. So anything which is more touristy is more expensive. Whereas because I am in Warwick and it's in Coventry, which is like a typical countryside, UK countryside location, it's a bit more cheaper, if I may. But anyway, scholarships I think are quite important. Like personally, I was really looking, like I really needed a scholarship to study because it really helps you with all of your finances. The thing with scholarship, what becomes tricky is that the applications are generally due in December and January. And a lot of these would require you to have a offer letter already. So to be on the safe side, it's always better that you finish your university applications by mid-September to early October. because universities also take a couple months to get back to you, to give you an offer letter. And so you can also then, if you have an offer letter in hand, you can better prepare for all of these scholarships you're looking for. How did I look for scholarships? I just went to all of the universities that I was applying to, and they have, all of the universities would have like finance page, like a web page on there, and they will direct you to all of these different sponsors that are available who could fund your education. So for me personally, I applied to, I think 6 different scholarships. I was late for a couple of them because I started my application process a bit later. So for example, I wanted to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship, but I couldn't because I hadn't gotten my acceptance letter by then. But I did get to apply for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, which is a bit different. But there are a lot of such sort of scholarships that are funded by external sources. So like, for example, there's INLACS, which is a really good scholarship, and it takes care of, like, it does not only help you with your tuition fee, but also helps you with your daily finances and all. So it'll provide you with a living stipend. So is Commonwealth. That's a very famous one. There's a Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, which is kind of tailored to specific courses. So there's a list of eligible courses, and only those can apply for that scholarship. But there are multiple such sort of. Then there's also internal funding, wherein the university itself sponsors your tuition fee. This is a bit more limiting because they don't help you with a living stipend, but they definitely, any support with tuition fee is also quite helpful, because as an international student, your tuition fee becomes double than what home or EU students would pay. So any sort of financial support becomes really helpful. Apart from that, UK is a bit on the expensive side because the conversion rates are quite high. So personally, I look at my finance. I found a part-time job over here. So I tutor at this tuition center, and I kind of, because the daily wage is good enough, it can help you pay all your bills by yourself and like have a smooth life. And like you can enjoy yourself, but also like buy your basic necessities and everything. I would say roughly in a month, depending on how much you're going out, how much you're spending on food, and how much your accommodation costs, like it varies quite a bit, but it would be like basic rent, for example, would, in a place like Coventry in countryside, would be around £105 to 150, somewhere between that. Whereas if you're looking for accommodation in popular cities like London or Oxford, Cambridge, they would be a bit more on the expensive side. So they would start around £140 to somewhere around 180. These are like very basic non-ensuite rooms. So it's kind of, you really need to look for like good rooms. And a lot of people, that's why for masters or like first year undergrads, they try to look for university accommodation because it's a bit more convenient. It kind of eases you into the process, whereas like looking for houses by yourself. But otherwise, like groceries and all, it's quite easy to get. And like if you find a job, and if you're not, you can still manage. It's not that expensive, but approximately like 50 to 70 pounds on groceries for a month, around, like that's what I have noticed people around me are spending. So overall, yeah, that's kind of
right. I think, yeah, that helps, considering how there are different scholarships for different sorts of majors. Like a particular scholarship might not hold true for a certain major, which is not listed in its category. And with regards to expenses, yes, it really depends on the locality, or specifically the city or the town that you're living in. Or definitely London will be much more expensive than a countryside, where, for example, Warwick is located in Coventry, which is a countryside, whereas schools like LSE and UCL are in London. So the expenses can really vary considering they are in different places. So thank you for bringing for shedding light on that. With that, I hope our attendees get an idea that what kind of possibilities are there for scholarships, considering they can support you with your tuition fee. Otherwise, there can be additional opportunities like working part-time, working on campus, picking up jobs that can also help you. For example, being a teaching assistant, being a tutor, etc., which also pays you and in turn gives you the opportunity to learn and add a lot to your CV also.
I just
With
want
that,
to add one
sure.
thing.
Yes.
So I stay in like central London, but just to point out that even in like zone 1 of London, you'll have different prices for basic commodities or basic groceries at different locations, depending on how popular an area is. Say if you go to Covent Garden, the same stuff you get for £5 more expensive as compared to a non-popular area in the zone 1 itself. So that's very important when you look for housing and all, be it student accommodation or self-owned, self-rented apartments. And apart from the expenses and the kind of locality, the most important thing I feel that we should keep in mind while looking for accommodation is the connectivity. I stayed in a student hall last year, and I obviously recommend that for everyone to do that in their first year, since it helps us settle in, make friends, and like feel safe, feel welcome in an environment. So my hall had really good connectivity because a bus stopped right in front of my hall, and I could take it like in the morning, come back late at night. It was perfectly safe because since it's a new city, most of my friends found it really difficult in the starting since they didn't have good connectivity. So just a simple Google search on Google Map can help you figure this thing out. And I think it's very important.
Yes, true. Especially if you go in as an undergrad, I think making yourself comfortable and acclimatized with that city is really important. Yes, Anuj.
Exactly. You don't know what area are safe in the first place, which
Yes.
are like the open areas. So
Yeah. So I just want to add to those points. Like I just want to put things in numbers. You know, if you are in London, the minimum around £8, £8 to £9. So that and a person like if we a student in the UK, we get 20 hours a week to work. So if you get a sense of it, you get around £750 a week if you work for 20 hours. So like when you say £750, you can get your rent done, and you can also get your groceries and all the basic necessities done in that if you're in London. So you know the thing in UK is that if you're ready to work hard, if you're ready to work and as well as study, I think you can just sponsor your own study by yourself. And when I say £8 to £9
Yes,
an
absolutely.
hour, that's just for the basic work. If you get sucks you staying and something like that, so there's a way through also. Like there are a lot of student apps. You can just register yourself on those apps, and you get a lot of discounts on that. So a student who's targeting something like UK, you should probably do your homework before going over there, because there are a lot of incentives that's offered by the UK government to the students. Like for example, there's Oyster card. So for example, we were saying connectivity, right? So the Oyster card is basically a metro card that's used all across London. So for students, you get that for 1/3 the price of what other people are paying. So if people pay £3, you're just paying £1. So that's how you cut down on your expenses, and you can probably just make your way through, and you can make the most of your time and most of the buck in UK.
Correct. Yes, I think that's one of the good reasons that UK is considered a very preferred destination, considering because you have so many opportunities, not only with regards to financing yourself, but also to like just be out there and learn a lot of new things, which actually brings me to my next point. I want to know from Kashvi, what has been her experience at London School of Economics so far, and what are the job prospects ahead? Because recently UK has announced that there will be the post-study work visa, which is like a very welcome change, especially for Indian students who used to shy away from UK because there was no support as such. Whereas US traditionally offers the OPT, which allows students to stay back in the States, pursue a job or look for a job. But now I think UK has also introduced something of that sort. So yeah, what has been your experience at LSE? And then how do you see yourself with regards to the jobs that you're looking at post you complete your undergrad studies at LSE?
I'd say LSE is a super career-driven university. I remember it was my first week, like Freshers Week, and people were already talking about Spring Week applications. Spring Week is basically a 1 week long internship that first year undergrad students usually do in their April break, the spring break. And we have excellent support regarding interview prep, CV, cover letter writing, like all the way from picking the companies where you want to apply, selecting our core domain of focus, to giving the final interviews and making it through. They have like really good. They have like a they've dedicated like 2 to 3 sessions per term for each student, and you can book more if you want, but that's like the recommended hours that everyone is given and is advised to use. And apart from that, my course managers have hired someone, they've hired like an external agency who specialize in financial recruitment. So
Right.
their support, like on top of LSE's own career support,
Right.
is really helpful in in navigating through this very confusing job application and interview process. I myself, like only because of the support I received at LSE, was able to land 2 spring internships
Sure.
into big firms like BlackRock and Fidelity. And I'm
Right.
totally satisfied with the support.
Right.
As for the job perspectives in UK in general, um, yes, it is a bit difficult these days because of Brexit, but
Right.
there are firms but who are willing to take in a lot more people. For example, Citigroup, they offered almost all their summer interns a final grad role this year, which is
Right.
surprising for me because no other firm actually did that. People are cutting down. But looking at it from a long-term perspective, I don't think it will have a big impact. Cutting down this year only means more recruitment next in the coming years. So I think it's positive in general. And
Right.
even because of Brexit and the uh, like the extended work permit for students, I think it will be easier and more attractive for incoming students in the further years.
Right. I think
Or
yes. Yeah, before I come to Anuj, I just want to re-emphasize on the fact that the top universities, they often have a dedicated career support office, which is one of their USPs, as you rightly mentioned, that they support you right from the first step with regards to what all companies that are a good fit for you, to preparing your CVs, training you for the interviews, the whole process, so that you can land a desired internship, because it can get really competitive, especially at top schools like LSE and otherwise, because all the top students are vying for the same positions at those same selected few companies. So a very good dedicated career support service from university, and most of these top schools in UK do have that. I think that's a very big plus point that can guide you to look for the right kind of internships and then eventually the jobs post completing your education. Yes.
Exactly. We don't exactly have the campus placement and campus
Right.
recruitment as we have here in Indian universities, but the support is beyond my
Sure.
expectation.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
yes. And
Yeah.
also, I think like for an undergrad, for that matter, like for the job prospects in the UK, the best thing about the good universities in UK is that they have super career connect. So what happens in India, like Kashi said, that you have probably career days or something like that. In the UK, you have career events wherein
Correct.
you're not forced to go over there, things like that. You just give in. You just said that there's a career event. You go, there are million of firms over there. You can just go speak to them, show your interest to them. You can connect with people who are actually working over there and probably connect with them, ask what's needed, what's not needed, and you can bag an internship from there. So, that's one of the most important things. So anybody who's targeting the UK should always and always attend these career events, and should always keep in contact with the career team of the university, because they can be of big help during your time at school. That's one thing. And secondly, for the undergraduate course, the fact that I've done masters, one thing that I've for sure noticed, and I regret that I've not done that, is that people, the foreign students, or let's say to be specific, Indians who have done their undergrad in the UK, to best of my knowledge, everyone has bagged a job in the UK. Whoever wanted to get a job in the UK, So it always puts you at a good advantage if you have done an undergrad from the UK. Then the other foreign students who have not done undergrad from the UK, that kinds of gives your universities credibility to you, that you bring certain kind of skill sets to the firm. So that a person, so all the people who are aspiring to do undergrad over there in the UK, I think it's a very good time, since the Brexit is around the corner. There are a lot of opportunities opening up in the UK, and also for that matter, it doesn't mean that the postgraduate opportunities in London is kind of less. It's not all like that. It's just that the undergraduate course is a great course to do over there, as well as graduate courses with greater skill sets.
Sure. Absolutely. Considering how undergrad forms like a foundation of whatever you do post that, be it the first job that you do post your undergrad course, or you go for a master's, I think having the right kind of course during your undergrad, and as we just spoke to Kashvi, who's herself doing an undergrad course at LSE, and how Anuj also felt that the people who have already done undergrad from UK have a better edge at a lot of things, be it securing the top internships, be it securing top jobs, which is now even more easy and feasible with the new visa guidelines, etc. And with that, I'll move on to the next very important question that a lot of people are often confused about, that how do we get the return on investment, because you invest a lot of money, be it your undergraduate course, be it your master's course, there's a lot of financial investment that's put in. So definitely everyone wants to know that after completing the degree for 3 years or 1 year masters, what are the prospects with regards to, is it easy to get a visa? Is it easy to stay back in UK and look for a job? How easy or difficult is that to get a job in a good, decent company or an MNC? So Anuj, if you could share a little more about the post-study work visa, what it entails, and how is it beneficial, and how does it put UK at a better position with regards to other countries, so that students are inspired to consider, students and parents are inspired to consider pursuing a higher degree in the United Kingdom. So yeah, if you could share something on that.
So currently, the students who study in the UK, they go to the UK on Tier 4 visa, and according to the current guidelines, anybody who is on Tier 4 visa, after their course period, they get 4 months to hunt for a job in the UK, and post that, if you don't have a job, you have to come back home. So to the best of my knowledge, what the new policies are, that from the autumn of 2020, whoever gets in, or whoever has an offer from autumn 2020 onwards, get a 2 years extension to search for a job in the UK, post their post their study permit in the UK. So that puts you on a very good note. That puts all the aspirants on a very good note. The fact that before 2010, made the major migration to the Britain for all the students was made before 2010, and it was because they had such liberal policies, like these two years work extension during the period before 2010. So I think they're trying to relax back the policies to the pre-2010 period, and the point being is that they want more of Asian students, because they bring a lot of skill set, they bring a lot of things on the table for them. And I think it's a great opportunity for everyone to go to the UK and study over there and find a job over there. So that's one thing. And also I think that the home minister in the UK right now is Preeti Patel, who's an Indian. So so there are talks around the corner is that in the future policies are going to be very favorable for Indians, for that matter Asians, in the work policy space. So
Right.
that's one thing for sure. And
Right.
also one thing I want to say, like if any student who goes to the UK and has a defined objective to stay there and work over there in the UK, I'd say that they should not only wait for the third year, they should not wait for, rather they should start early on, because the job application process is very aimless for everyone. It's not a defined trajectory that you go this way and you get a job.
Yes.
You start off, you hit a lot of corners, and you understand this is not working, but this is working for yourself, and then you proceed in that way. So, and you meet a lot of people, you make a lot of connections, and that's how you probably get a job, or you get a job and you get in the door. So I'd say that start early, you
Yeah.
learn a lot out of that. And I have no second doubt that you will not end up having a job in the UK if you studied in the UK.
Absolutely. As you rightly gave this advice that start early. So अगर मुझे सब कुछ अभी तक को summarize करना हो, so I will say that how Sakshi mentioned that look for opportunities on campus, be it part-time jobs with your professors, etc. And how Kashvi mentioned that taking the support from your career office, the right time पे उनको approach करना, उनका help लेना. And also what Anuj mentioned कि how networking is important. कि आपको you have to interact with people, आपको active होना पड़ेगा, आपको participate करना पड़ेगा in the various events जो आपके campus पे हो रहे हैं. I think if you follow all of that, then I think that forms like the crux of your university experience. और रही बात job prospects की, after education के बाद क्या job मिलेगा भी कि नहीं मिलेगा. I think to answer that, post study work visa is one of the very good and very inspiring and a positive change कि जिससे ये clear होता है कि कल को अगर आपने अपना अंडरग्रेड डिग्री या मास्टर्स डिग्री या पीएचडी डिग्री यूके में किसी भी accredited यूनिवर्सिटी से किया है, then you are assured that आप यूके में stay back कर सकते हैं for 2 years, considering you might want to look for job for how much ever time you want to. और अगर आपको job मिल भी जाए, आपको additional sponsorship की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. You can actually work within those 2 years with whichever employer gives you the job. और उसके बाद you will be upgraded based on your performance, of course, to the proper work permit. So I think this is a very good way, especially how Indian mentality, and I think universally also, we are always concerned about our return on investment. Ki job kya milegi? Will we be able to recover the investment, that we have made in the education? So I think post-study work visa is one of the very important things that you should keep in mind if you're considering UK and contemplating to study in one of the top schools in UK. Right.
I just
Can
want
I
to
add
say
something
one
to
last
that?
thing.
Oh,
Sure. 1 minute.
Yeah, please,
Thank you.
please.
So yeah, Sakshi, please share, and then we'll go to Anuj.
okay.
Yes, and
One
also
really
request, please use a little bit of Hindi also. We just want to keep it a little mixed, just so सबको comfortable
Right.
और रहे और समझ भी आए.
One great thing about studying in the UK is that if you want to eventually in life, if you want to become a UK citizen, doing an undergrad would be really helpful now, because there's this thing where you can get a citizenship through the process of naturalization, which
Right.
is basically if you stay in the country for 5 years,
Right.
you're eligible for citizenship. So if you go for a 3-year undergrad and then you have the post-study work visa, which makes it 5 years, so then you can apply for
Absolutely.
the citizenship. So that becomes really, really helpful. And meanwhile, in the 2 years, you could also like manage your finances doing part-time jobs.
Right.
So it kind of becomes really helpful to smooth into the process. And if you want to live outside, it
Right.
becomes
तो अगर आपका plan immigration या long term settling का है in the UK, citizenship is in your mind, then I think what Sakshi just mentioned is really helpful and important, considering you start your journey as an undergrad student, जिसमें आप 3 साल की degree करते हो, you come out with a bachelor's degree. उसके बाद the PSW visa that we just talked about, that gives you 2 years. So ये जो total कुल मिला के जो आपका 3 + 2 5 years का है, that gives you a very good chance at getting closer to the citizenship dream, if you have, of being one in the United Kingdom. Yes, Anuj, you wanted to add something quickly?
Yes, just one thing. I just want to share an experience while I was at a career event at my university. I was talking to a professional from HSBC uh,
Right.
at the career event, and I was just asking the person that, what are you looking for in me if I want to get a job at HSBC? He said that you are a fresh graduate. We don't expect you to change the world. We don't want you to change the world, because that's what we are here for. What we want from you is the willingness and keenness to learn for the coming years. So, you never think that you don't have this skill set, you don't have that skill set, that's why you can't get in the door and you're not going to get a job. What you
Right.
do is you start early on, you show keenness to the people you meet. आप जिससे भी मिलते हो, आप उनको बताओ कि आप एक्चुअली में वो जॉब करना चाहते हो, and you're ready to learn, आप सीखना चाहते हो उससे कुछ, and they are surely you'll get a return back from them. वो आपके पास आएंगे, वापस आपसे पूछने आएंगे, and they'll really they'll show interest in you. So that's one thing. And second thing, why in the future days UK is going to be a big opportunity for the people who want to work over there. There's nobody in the UK. There's nobody who doesn't get a job in the UK. It's just the lack of time because of which people don't get job. Okay, so when the span of 4 months, जो आपको 4 महीने मिल रहे थे job देखने के लिए, अगर वो 2 साल बन जाते हैं, I don't have any doubt that people will not get a job. It's just the time, and the time has increased, so there are a lot of opportunities now to look for one.
Right. Absolutely. Yes, that's really important. And hence, I think it makes it, and it puts UK in an even better position when students and parents are considering studying abroad. Right. So with that, this question is specifically for Sakshi. Usually, parents are not really comfortable with regards to the cultural changes. कि the country दूर है, क्या माहौल होगा. London, considering is a big city, people still know. But considering how Warwick is located in a countryside, but still it boasts of an amazing, vibrant student population. So I want to know from you, how has your experience been with regards to the life within campus at Warwick, and what is like the diversity like? Like, what are the communities there? How diverse it is? How much of a support do you get from the Indian community? Should someone choose to go at a very young age, which is like 18 or 17, to pursue an undergrad? So if you could talk about the life on campus and generally your experience.
Right. I think coming to the UK has been one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Right.
And I think it's very enriching and helps you grow as a person. So before Warwick, I did have an opportunity to come to the UK because I was on the Erasmus program. So I was in London for a semester, and that kind of eased me into it. That was my first sort of step in the UK. But I mean, to be very honest, it is kind of a cultural shock when you first come here because there are different ways of doing things. But there are so many different opportunities that will help you ease into it. I think, especially at Warwick, personally, I feel like because there are so many societies, they kind of really help you get out of your shell, meet people who are like-minded, and like make friends so that you don't feel homesick. Like you will feel homesick from time to time, I'm not going to lie, but at least you have the kind of support that you would need to feel better. So personally, I joined a bunch of societies when I came here. So I was a part of the Asian Society, which is where all of these Asian communities come together and they have a lot of events. There's something called pub quizzes where they meet and there's like games night and they have like quizzes and all of that. So that's a really good bonding session. And because you're surrounded by Asians, you kind of feel at home. And there's this sort sense of familiarity that, we kind of quote unquote my people, and like you can discuss about things that are your own, like in a way. Yes. I also joined some other societies, like I was a part of the anime society because that's something I'm interested in. So I could talk about, like, I could be nerdy and I could talk about anime. I joined the Theology Society. Actually, I was the postgrad representative of it. So it really helped me kind of get close to my professors and like interact with other students and alumni, because that's how you build network. I think networking becomes a really, really big part of your experience, because the contacts you make over there are really going to help you, not just with your career, but also to gain knowledge and everything. Um, Another really good thing that kind of eases you into this whole cultural dimension is that most of your roommates or flatmates are going to be from different countries themselves. So it's really nice, because I remember I had 7 flatmates and we would all sit together in the kitchen, have each other's food. We would have like potlucks where every one of us would make different dishes from our own country, and then we would talk about different cultural experiences we have, and like laugh about jokes and like discuss politics. And it's a really nice experience. Like you really get to understand how things are like in different countries, because there's a difference between reading something, reading about a different culture, whereas experiencing it firsthand. So through their stories, you kind of live all of these it's a very multifaceted experience, I would say. There are also a lot of support uh, support support groups, so to say, on campus, wherein you can, if you feel really anxious, or if you're suffering with some sort of mental health issue as well, there are a lot of points where you can reach out to. There's always a counseling team, which you can like book an appointment for, and reach out to them whenever you need. And like you can have like a therapist of your own as well, and they'll do like weekly therapy sessions with you in case if that's something you need and require. They also hold seminars from time to time. So there's a seminar on how not to procrastinate. There are seminars on how to make sure of your sleeping patterns, and like even seminars to sort of ease you into this whole cultural process, like moving from one country to other, and sort of
Point, as you rightly
become.
said, they give a lot of confidence to parents, because they have to
Yeah.
send their child abroad, countries far away. It's a new place for everyone, even if it's a master's student who's a little older and mature. But still, I think, as you rightly mentioned, the clubs, the societies, the groups, and also the experience of living with international people. Of course, you need your own kind of people also, as you rightly said, so that you have some sort of cultural similarity. I think that really helps one settle in the environment. Then so that one can focus properly on the academics and not get bogged down by other changes that are happening all around. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think with that, I'll move to the next question, considering I'm a little constrained on the time. So yeah, before that, I just wanted to briefly mention that the next UCAS deadline is on 15th January, which is for the 2021 intake, which is next year. So all the students who are looking to join college, looking to apply to the United Kingdom for the next year's intake, this is the time to get started with your application process, put a lot of things together, take decisions with regards to what are the 5 universities that you're going to choose through your UCAS application. So if you have any questions or you want to schedule a consultation session with our experts, please write to us at goals@myedugoals.com, and we'll be happy to help you and guide you with regards to your plans of studying in UK, and also guide you what the next steps could be pertaining to your background and your long-term goals. Right. So with that, I come to my penultimate question for the session, which is really important, I feel, because when we talk about study abroad, we generally talk about US, Canada, UK, Singapore, and there's a clear-cut contrast between the application process that US and Canada follow, generally the North American countries, versus what United Kingdom follows. And I believe, Kashvi, as you mentioned, you had applied to a lot of countries, which include US and UK both. And right now you are in UK, definitely. So what would you say are the major points that differentiate or separate these two application processes, USA, for example, versus United Kingdom?
I, on the face of it, it all appears kind of similar, but
Right.
when you read more about it, you can notice stark contrast differences.
Right.
So the basic difference is that US, for example, every college is very individualistic, and they have their own application process, their own requirements, their own different documentations that they need. So you need to like send parcels and everything, like maintain all the backend logistics for different colleges in different ways. They have their own essays, which generally is between 2 to 4 essays per college. So
Right.
if you apply to say 15 colleges, it sums up to 45 to 60 essays,
Yes.
which is a lot to be honest. And UK on the other side is very straightforward. You just need to write one statement of purpose.
Right.
Um, on the content side for essays and overall application process, I'd say US colleges, like the top colleges, they look for a more overall holistic personality. They want you to obviously have excellent academic background, but apart
Right.
from that, they want you to do volunteering, try out different sports, try out different clubs, try hands at coding and finance and a lot of things. They want
Right.
you to be like a more groomed person. For UK, I personally felt that if I am applying for a particular subject, they just want to know my background, why am I interested in that specific thing, and not just me saying that I'm really keen on exploring it and knowing more. My
Right.
past experiences, my work experiences, my hobbies, they should all reflect, they should all converge in that one direction. So if
Right.
I, for example, wanted to apply for finance, they want to know, okay, so what have you done to further explore your passion? Have you taken any steps, initiatives?
Right.
So I feel it's more concentrated on what you really want to do and just focus on that. Whereas US wants an applicant to be very wholesome and like you need to include all different aspects of your life into the application process.
Right. Right. I think, yes, as you mentioned, that how UK places a lot more focus on the academic rigor. So, for example, if you definitely applied for the finance major, so they would want to know more about what in-depth work or participation have you done with regards to finance. Have you taken initiative within that domain, etc. Whereas for the US, it's a little more broader. It's a little more holistic in the sense that they not only will expect you to excel in the field that you have chosen, but also a lot of other activities around that. So I think that is one of the major differences that
Yeah,
we
it
can
reflects.
clearly point out in the application system of. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it reflects in the essays that we write as well. So, for example, one of the questions for US colleges would definitely be why this particular college. Whereas for
Right,
UK, we just submit one statement of purpose and we don't really mention any college name in it because it goes to each and like all 5 of the colleges you apply.
correct.
Secondly, it's generally like tell us the time when you worked as a team or tell us the time when you put others' needs before yourself. And
Right,
some colleges are like specifically known for the essay questions.
right.
For example, University of Chicago, they
Yes.
come up with random questions every year, and people really look forward to their questions, even if they're
Right.
applying or not. I remember last year there was this question it was like an essay prompt, and you had to continue. It said,
Yeah.
imagine you are a sailor in the 13th century and suddenly
Right.
you fall off the edge of earth and then
Right.
you just continue it. And
Yeah.
it's typically mind boggling, as in,
Right.
how do I portray my skills or something like that in like a topic like this, which is basically creative writing.
Yeah.
You need to
Absolutely.
focus on questions like that actually makes you want to think like, why am I applying? There was a
Yeah.
question which I had to answer in 50 words for, I think, Ross Business School. I'm not really sure, but it said, why do you want to study?
Right. Right.
It's a very basic question, but
Absolutely.
how do you not make it very generalistic and stay
Correct.
original at the same time?
Right.
And growing up in India, it's kind of like granted that we're going to complete school, go to a college, do a master's, and land a good job.
Right.
But that's not the academic journey everywhere, and people have different choices across the globe. So it makes us think like what we are doing, why we are doing that. Do I really want to do this? So I think they both have their pros and cons, like both countries, but it's a
Absolutely.
very wholesome process, and throughout that you grow as a person and have a better understanding of yourself.
Correct.
Can I quickly add something to that?
Yes, sure.
In the application process, however, if you're applying for scholarships, I
Yes.
think UK universities would also want a very holistic,
Yeah.
they would want a very holistic resume. So they would want to see things like, are you doing social service, or like, are you engaging in any co-curricular activities? So in that, if your aim is to just get into a program, a specific program, that's not as comprehensive as a scholarship test would be. So I mean, it kind of, you need to kind of weigh out your options, and you need to kind of fix your mind as to what you're looking for
Right.
when you're applying to the
Yeah.
UK or
I
the
think, yeah, apart from the fundamental differences that Kashvi mentioned, that how a typical US application and US essay questions would be versus what UK essay questions would be, I think, yeah, the point that Sakshi just mentioned is really important, that if you're going with the mindset that scholarship is really important for you, for your journey to study in the UK, then accordingly your profile needs to be of that caliber and of that level, so that you can showcase your complete personality within the scholarship essay, even if it's for UK. Right. So thank you for that. Thank you for adding that. With that, I move to the final question that I have for this webinar, which talks about studying in the UK. I would like to ask what opinion Anuj has with regards to the Brexit situation, and what implications or impact can be experienced by the students who are currently studying there in future, who are going to look for jobs in the United Kingdom. So yeah, your take on that.
Uh, so what is Brexit? So Brexit is basically when Britain is trying to come out, and well, they have officially passed the bill of coming out of the European Union. That was a single market and a customs union. So basically, after this, so in UK, how it worked was any person from European Union can come in the UK without a visa, and could have worked in the UK without any work permit, whereas a foreign student needs a work permit to work in the UK, right? So after Brexit,
Right.
this work liberty to all the European Union citizens is taken away, and is completely tracked. So all the job that was given to EU citizens has been taken off from them, and now will be spread across all the other foreign migrants, basically. So I think it's a great opportunity for Asian countries and for India also specifically, who brings a big talent pool to Britain. The coming days in STEM courses, science, technology, medical, it's going to be superb. Uh, and if you so one of the most important thing why Brexit happened in the UK was because uh, the UK was becoming incompetitive, because the labor cost in the UK was very expensive. At the same time, they didn't bring that much skill sets on the table. Whereas
Right.
if the boundaries open up in the Britain for Asian migrants, what's going to happen is they're going to bring more talent on the table for the cost they are being paid for, right? So I think all the Britain companies and the firms and the multinationals are working in the UK. They're going to prefer a lot of Asian people, a lot of Indian people, like how US has always done. And it's going to be a big opportunity for Indians to work in Britain post Brexit. That's what I believe is happening, and that's what the current government feels so as well. Reading all the rhetoric what's been happening around.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Before I conclude the session formally, I would just want Sakshi and Kashvi to quickly add in a few last words regarding anything that they want to give out as a message to our attendees today, which is a mix of students and parents. It could be any tips regarding the application experience, application process, or anything even about the Brexit, or what has been your experience with regards to that. So yeah, a quick take from both of you, starting from Sakshi.
My biggest advice would be to finish your applications on time. So I know it's very easy to fall into this whole procrastination rabbit hole, but please, please, please submit your applications by September and October beginning so that you have a plan in mind.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, start looking for part-time jobs if that's something you're interested in as well. And just don't be afraid. I know it sounds very happy-go-lucky and merry, but it's really not that difficult to get in. Like when I was applying, I didn't think I would get into the 5 universities I was applying to, but I did. I got into all of them, and it is hard work, but it's really worth it, and it is one of a kind of an experience. So yeah, just be on time is all I'm trying to say.
Thank you for that. Yeah. I think everyone will take note of that you better start early so that you can plan out the applications, what are schools you want to apply, and most importantly, you're stress-free, because you also have to manage your schoolwork or other full-time thing that you're doing if you're in a undergrad college in India, or you are in school, be it your grade 11 or grade 12, where you're already so much stressed with your final examinations and stuff. Yeah, Kashvi, your last words on this.
First of all, I'd like to add something to what Anuj said regarding jobs and academic application process for colleges. Definitely, I mean, Brexit might be a good thing because most of the European students till now paid domestic tuition, which is really, really low. And after Brexit, the financial burden for them is almost doubled or 2.5 times higher than previously. So yes, a lot of applications from the European side, European students will decrease, but at the same time, it will become much more competitive for scholarships. So it's like a two-sided saw. I mean, there are pros and cons on both sides. Regarding the application process, something that I feel that my journey lacked was ordering the applications. People generally put their target schools, read schools either in the very beginning or in the very end. And I think it's very important to split them evenly across the time, apply to a few target and read schools in the start, in the middle, and in the end, because like throughout the process, you keep on improving yourself, evolve, and your essays really, I mean, I remember that when later on I used to read the essays that I wrote in the beginning, I know I wouldn't give myself admission after those essays.
Sure.
So it's very important to divide your applications across the time span. And if you need help, like definitely take it from a consultancy like EduGoal or any consultancy that you find comfortable with, because it's definitely a lot of work. And I remember my dad didn't go to office for almost 6 months. I mean, it's not possible for everyone, but that's the kind of commitment you need, because if you are strong academically, if your profile is strong, you don't want to be rejected just because you made a logistical error in like missing out one document or something.
Or a deadline.
It really happens more frequently than we imagine. So it's better to take help when needed.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I think with your SOPs also, you would want to get like at least 5 people to proofread it, run a grammar check, make sure everything is placed, make sure you're answering all of the questions, and the thing is, if you write your SOP, leave it for a while and then revisit it, as Kashvi said before, it really gives you a new perspective. It's almost as if you're reading it for the first time, and it helps you improve it quite a bit. And SOP really affects where you get placed and what kind of offer you get. So that is something everyone should focus on as well.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to current students or alumni.
Definitely.
Through LinkedIn specifically, I think 2 people just yesterday, they wrote me, I'm doing international development at Warwick. What would you suggest?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good, because you kind of
than we expect.
And mentorship, for example, to all the attendees here, I think Anuj, Sakshi, and Kashvi, they will be more than happy to help you or connect with you should you need any support. So if you want to connect with any of these 3 students with regards to their experience or the college or the universities that they have been a part of, please write to goals@myedugoals.com, and I'll be happy to get you in touch with them, and they can help you at their time whenever it suits and is of convenience to them. So yeah. Thank you so much.
Just one thing I would want to say. Just three words for everyone.
Yes.
First of all, start early for everything that you do. Early application, you get a lot of time. And then if you're looking for jobs, start early, start early, start early. That's what everyone's saying. So that brings a lot of weight to it, right?
Yeah.
That's first
Totally.
thing. Second thing is, whenever you write something, have a vision to it. Like, what do you actually want to bring across to the other person who's going to read that? What do you want to bring your personality to the other person that's going to read? So have a sketch of have a sketch of what's in your mind, and after that, mm, like, get a multiple advice from multiple people. Like, you let others read and you tell them, what's your advice on this, how can I make it better, and probably get a good consultancy. I would again stress on edu goals probably for that
Yes.
good consultancy, like edu goals, to kind of chisel it and get it better. And thirdly, there's a lot of opportunity in the UK. Everyone who wants to study in the UK, there has never been a better time to study in the UK. So go
Absolutely.
ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your experience and sharing that advice. I think one thing that will be the highlight and the key takeaway for all the attendees is going to be to start early, be it your applications for undergrad, be it your application for masters, or even if you're once in UK, if you're looking for an internship or a job, again, you have to follow this adage that you have to start early, go out there, talk to people, take help. And with regards to your university application support, feel free to contact to EduGoals, and we'll be happy to share what kind of services and what kind of support that we provide, so that your dreams can become a reality with regards to studying abroad, specifically in UK. So once again, thank you so much, Anuj. Thank you so much, Sakshi and Kashvi, for taking the time out, joining, and sharing such interesting insights and informative points with our attendees today. If they will feel that they have a question, I'll be happy to put them in touch with you guys so that you can help them, guide them, mentor them, give them the advice that you would have given yourself if you were to look back at the whole process. So thank you. Thank you to the attendees for joining today. Looking forward to see you all next Sunday, same time on Zoom for EduSeries 8, and wherein we will discover a lot more about the application process to study in the top schools in the United States of America. As we just mentioned, that the application is a little different, the whole system is a little different than it is for UK. So it's really important to make yourself aware with that also, so that you can make a right decision when you're actually applying. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Share your
Prachi.
queries. Thank you. Share your queries, your feedback on goals at myedugoals.com, and keep yourself updated by following our Facebook and Instagram. Have a great Sunday, and see you next Sunday for EduSeries 8. Thank you so much.
Thank you.